My name is Emma. I'm 29 years old and I live in Miami. It's a nice, breezy place and I love the beach. I work as a marketing manager for a big company, and on the outside, everything looked great. I had a good job, a nice apartment, and everything I thought I needed to be happy. But I made a decision that would change my life forever. I had always been a go-getter. Ever since I was young, I told myself that if I worked hard enough, I would get everything I wanted. I was determined to succeed. So, when I got my marketing job at a big company, I thought, this is it. I've made it. I worked long hours, often staying late at the office or checking emails on weekends. I felt proud of myself for putting in so much effort. But there was something else, something that I didn't realize was slipping away. While I focused all my energy on my career, I started spending less and less time with the people who mattered most. Chris, my boyfriend at the time, noticed it first. He started saying, "Emma, you're always working. Don't you want to spend more time with me?" I would brush it off, telling him, "I'm doing this for us, for our future." Looking back, I now see how I was fooling myself. I thought that working hard and earning money would make everything else better. I told myself, once I get promoted, everything will be perfect. I didn't realize that by putting my career above everything else, I was losing something far more valuable, something I couldn't get back. As time went on, I started feeling a change, but I didn't want to face it. Chris and I used to talk about everything, our plans, our dreams, and little moments that made us smile. But now our conversations felt forced. We'd sit at dinner and there was silence. I could hear him talk, but it felt like the words didn't reach me. I was always thinking about work, my next project or marketing idea. My mind was never truly with him. At first, I ignored it. I thought, it's just a phase. He'll understand when he sees the success I'm building for us. I told myself that the more I worked, the better our future would be. But deep down, I noticed his frustration. He'd sigh when I took calls at dinner or checked my phone while we watched a movie. His eyes would get sad and it hurt, but I didn't know how to stop. Then one evening he said, "I feel like I'm not a priority anymore. It's always about work. Where does that leave us?" His words stung. I didn't want to admit it, but I knew he was right. I tried to explain, "I'm doing this for us. Don't you get it? All of this is for our future. We'll have everything we want. I'm just working hard now so we can enjoy it later." But Chris didn't believe me. He said, "You keep saying that, but you're not here with me. You're always somewhere else. I need you here, with me now, not just in some future that may never come." I didn't know how to respond. I told myself he was being unreasonable. He couldn't understand how important my job was. I was sacrificing now for a better future. But when I saw his face fall, I knew the distance between us was growing. His words stayed with me. "I need you here." That was the moment I realized I wasn't really listening to him anymore. I was so focused on success that I didn't see how much I was losing. Chris had been there for me when I was struggling and unsure of my career. Now I was pushing him away because I didn't know how to balance love and ambition. I kept telling myself that things would get better once I got a promotion. Once I get the promotion, I'll have more time for him, I thought. But deep down, I knew this was about more than just my job. It was about my priorities, and I had made them clear. Money and success were more important than love. At least, that's what I kept telling myself. Weeks passed, and I thought things might get better. I kept pushing forward at work, thinking that one more promotion or one more deal would fix everything. But the cracks in my relationship with Chris were starting to show in ways I couldn't ignore anymore. One night, Chris came home late from work. I was sitting at the kitchen table, working on a project, as usual. He didn't say much at first. He just set his keys down and walked to the fridge. He was exhausted, and I could tell. His usual spark was gone, replaced with a quiet sadness. It was hard to watch, but I didn't know what to say. Finally, he sat down next to me. There was a long pause, and then he said, "I can't keep doing this, Emma. I'm tired of feeling alone. You're here, but you're not really here. It's like I'm just another part of your to-do list." His words cut through me. I tried to tell myself it was just frustration, that it would pass, but deep down I knew this was different. I could see it in his eyes, the pain, the exhaustion, the emptiness. He was done waiting for me to show up, and I had no excuses left. I looked at him, feeling lost. "Chris, I'm sorry," I said, but the words felt empty. I knew what I had done, but I didn't know how to make it right. "I'm just trying to secure our future. I thought if I worked hard now, we could have everything later." He shook his head. "You don't get it. We can't have everything if we don't have each other. I don't want a future where you're too busy for me. I want a future where we're together, right now, not just some distant dream." I stood there, speechless. I wanted to argue, to tell him that I was doing this for us, but I couldn't. I could feel the truth in his words. He wasn't asking for much, just for me to be present, to show him that I cared about him, not just the job. But I had been so focused on the future that I had neglected the present. That night, Chris packed a bag and left. He didn't say goodbye. He just walked out the door, and I stood there, frozen. I tried to hold back the tears, but they came anyway. I was alone, staring at the empty space where he used to be, and I realized just how much I had lost. The days after Chris left were the hardest of my life. The apartment, once filled with laughter and love, now felt like a cold, empty space. I'd walk into the kitchen and remember the times we'd cook dinner together, or how he'd make me laugh when I was stressed about work. But now there was nothing but silence. I tried to keep busy, burying myself in work like I always did, but it didn't help. I couldn't concentrate. My thoughts kept drifting back to Chris. I kept replaying the moments when he had begged me to be present. "We can't have everything if we don't have each other." Those words echoed in my mind, like a haunting reminder of what I had lost. One evening, I sat alone on the couch, scrolling through old photos of Chris and me. I saw how happy we were, how much love we had shared. In those pictures, I could see the spark in my eyes, the joy in his. But that spark was gone now. I had chosen work, money, success, everything I thought I needed. And in the process, I had pushed away the one thing that actually made me happy: love. I began to understand the weight of my actions. I wasn't just losing Chris. I was losing everything I had built with him. Our future plans, our shared dreams, gone. And for what? A bigger paycheck? A title at work? I had sacrificed real happiness for temporary success, and now I had nothing to show for it. The next few days, I tried to reach out to Chris. I sent texts, left messages, but he never responded. I didn't blame him. I knew I had messed up. I had taken him for granted, thinking that he would always be there, no matter how little attention I gave him. But people don't stay when they feel neglected. They leave, and I had pushed him to that point. Days turned into weeks, and still no word from Chris. I couldn't sit around waiting for him to come back, though. I had to make things right, if not for him, then for myself. I couldn't go on living with this regret, feeling empty every day. I had to try. I started by going to places we used to go together. The coffee shop where we had our first date. The park where we took long walks. I sat there, thinking about everything that had happened. How could I have been so blind? I kept telling myself I was doing everything for us, but I never truly understood what us meant. It wasn't about money, status, or a successful career. It was about being present for each other, about sharing our lives and supporting each other. I reached out to his friends, trying to get some sense of where he was, what he was doing, hoping they'd give me a chance to explain myself. But the answers I got weren't comforting. Everyone knew what I had done, and no one was willing to stand in my corner. Chris had made it clear that he needed space, and I had to respect that. One night, I sat down and wrote Chris a letter. I knew it was a long shot, but I needed to say everything I had been holding inside. I told him how sorry I was, how much I missed him, and how much I regretted choosing work over him. I promised that I would never let that happen again if he gave me another chance. I didn't know if he would ever read it, but I had to try. The next day, I dropped the letter off at his apartment. I didn't expect him to come running back, but I knew I needed to take responsibility for my actions. I needed to prove that I could change, that I could be present in the relationship, not just in my career. A week passed since I left the letter at Chris's apartment. I didn't know if he'd even read it, but at least I had tried to make things right. Then, one evening, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Chris. I froze. After so long, I wasn't sure what to expect. The message read, "I got your letter. I've been thinking a lot about everything. I don't know if we can go back to how things were, but I'm willing to talk." I stared at the text. A mix of relief and fear washed over me. This was my chance to prove I'd changed. Maybe we could rebuild, one step at a time. We decided to meet at the same coffee shop where we first met. I hadn't been there since everything fell apart. When I walked in, I saw Chris sitting at a corner table. He looked different, calmer, but still sad. I knew things wouldn't be fixed overnight. I sat down and we both stayed quiet. I finally said, "I'm so sorry, Chris. I know I hurt you. I was selfish. But I'm not that person anymore. What matters now is you, not work or money." He paused, then said, "I know you didn't mean to hurt me, but you did. It'll take time to heal, and I'm not ready to jump back in, but I'll try. We need to rebuild slowly. I can't forget." I nodded, understanding. Rebuilding would take time, patience, and effort. It wouldn't be perfect right away, but it was a start. And for the first time in a long while, I felt hopeful. It's been months since that coffee shop meeting. A lot has changed. Not everything is perfect, but we've made progress. Chris and I are talking more openly, spending more time together, and slowly rebuilding what we lost. I've learned that love isn't something you can put on hold while you chase success. It's something you nurture every day, through the small moments and the big decisions. We've even started making plans for the future again, but this time it's not just about me or my career. It's about us and what we both want in life. We've learned to prioritize each other, not as a distant idea of what our future could be, but in the now, in the present. I've also learned to let go of the constant pressure to succeed. I still love my job, and I'm still passionate about my career, but I've realized that there's more to life than just climbing the ladder. There's a balance that I've found, one that lets me be present with Chris, enjoy my work, and still take care of myself. Chris and I went on a weekend trip last month. Just the two of us, no work, no distractions. It was a chance for us to reconnect in a way we hadn't in a long time. I realized how much I had missed those moments, how much I had taken for granted. But this time, I didn't make the same mistake. I put my phone away, and we just enjoyed each other's company. That trip was a turning point. It showed me how far we've come and how much work we still have to do, but it was a step in the right direction. We're no longer living in the shadows of my past mistakes. Instead, we're moving forward, building a life together. One where we both have room to grow, succeed, and most importantly, love. As I look back on everything, I realize just how much I've learned. I thought that chasing success would lead me to happiness, but in the end, I realized that true happiness comes from the people you love and the moments you share with them. Money and career achievements are important, but they should never come at the expense of your relationships and well-being. I lost a lot along the way, things I can never get back, but I've gained so much more through the lessons I've learned. Now I'm committed to making sure that love and connection are always at the forefront of my life. My relationship with Chris is stronger than ever, and I've found a new sense of balance between work and love. If you're facing a similar situation, or if you're struggling to balance your career and personal life, I hope my story resonates with you. Remember that it's never too late to reevaluate your priorities and make changes. The right balance can bring both success and happiness without sacrificing what matters most. If you found this story helpful and want to hear more real-life lessons and personal experiences, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I share more stories about life, love, and the lessons we learn along the way. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. Let's grow together.